Alright, back with match 3 of our Esper Brain Control deck, and we are playing against G-Hash or Gash77, so we know he's on Death Shadow John, Suicide John, whatever they call it these days. I think historically this guy's been tearing it up on Moto, and he's a very good player. I think historically I'm 1-1 against him at the point that we played this match. I had won the previous one, and he won the first time we played, and they were both good, fun matches. So we're wishing each other well here at the beginning. I don't know if he remembers what we're playing, but we're assuming he plays Hand Disruption turn 1, so he'll probably remember pretty quickly. I'm just going to run out Colonnade. We keep this because we have card advantage spells to help us deal with Lily, and we have a Blessed Alliance. We have a Logic Knot, and he takes Beck Call, which means he's respecting the combo, which is legit. Can definitely do a lot of damage, and we would have drawn a jar here, so... Probably going to counter whatever he does, except he plays Inquisition. We're not going to counter that. I was thinking about Think Twicing in response, but then I decided not to. He takes Brain in a Jar, and then I thought he might be playing a Death Shadow into our Logic Knot, which would be weird, but he plays Thoughtseize, and at this point I do want to think twice. We're giving him extra information, but I think it's pretty reasonable for him to take our Think Twice there, and we really want to get to another land at this point. And we don't. We don't get to another land. So we're pretty happy we dug a little deeper. We have more interaction. We have an answer to Lily. And he just has all the discard. All of it. Right? We assume that this deck, unlike the old one that played a split of Thoughtseize and Bolt, this deck's playing 4 Thoughtseize and at least 3 Inquisition, maybe 4. So we're just letting those things resolve and whatever. We do draw a land, that's nice. We can flashback Think Twice now. He's drawing all disruption and no threats, fortunately for us. K command would be a little annoying. Those quarters fine. Mystic Gate's fine. We actually pretty happy to draw lands here because it gets us toward Colonnade. And he's already at 3 life. He's trying to cycle through his deck. We get a Beck. That's good. We can hard cast Beck in 1 land. I have no problem with that. Draw a Spell Snare. Opponent plays Goyf. We're snaring it. Draw a Push. Opponent traverses for Ranger of Eos. That's that tech, right? That's that tech. So we could leave Ranger of Eos on the board and just kind of, I don't know, let it swing for 3 a turn? I'm not sure. I decide not to. I decide to path it. And then we're going to push one of these shadows that he plays next turn, and hopefully our Blessed Alliance helps us get out of the other. Our opponent's used a lot of discard, so I'm not super inclined to play around it. I'm going to push that. We have a Logic Knot, which is decent. At least we can answer discard. He doesn't swing. Really hoping to draw some lands. Alright, so we draw a land and our opponent's at 2. So we could Colonnade and win, but our opponent has 3 cards in hand and hasn't done anything. So either they're all fetches, or they're K commands, which I think he would have used. He wants to flood the board with stuff. Or he's playing some pushes, which we've seen in a few of these lists, like main deck fatal pushes. So I decide, like, if we swing with Colonnade and he has push, and we're down to 5 lands, we can't cast Call anymore, we're probably dead. So I decide I'm not going to swing Colonnade here, even though it would give us the win this turn. I'm actually discussing it with him because it's a pretty interesting decision. He has the kind of like, you know, novel deck advantage at this point, which is kind of hilarious because we usually have that too, right? So it's a tough call. Tough call. We're going to counter this K command because we need to keep the board threat light. We draw Think Twice. Again, we could swing with Colonnade. We know he had a K command, but he still has 3 cards in hand. Doesn't seem good. Flashback Think Twice. We're really hoping to hit a land here. I don't want to tap out for Beck Call because then we die to Temur Battle Rage. So now we have 7 lands. He's at 2 life. I decide it's time for us to actually do something, and I just hardcast Call and hold up Spell Snare. Unless he hits more disruption, which is like relatively unlikely at this point, we have a decent chance to live through this turn. I don't think he's playing 14 or Battle Rage, so if he has 1, we counter it, and then we win. He has 1, we counter it, and then we win. So that was good. We were lucky he didn't have 2 Battle Rages there, and it's probably actually good for us that he ate up a lot of his discard outs early in the game, as it turned out. He didn't quite get the threat fast enough to back up the early avalanche of discard, even though it mutilated our hand. It was good for that. All right, welcome back for match 2. For sideboarding here, I decided on the draw, or just like kind of in general. I wasn't super enthusiastic about the spell snares. Could kind of take them or leave them, but I took these 2 out, and I took out 2 cryptics. We brought in the 2 ruined halos, which are more or less auto includes, and the Blessed Alliance, also kind of an auto include, and we took out, and we also brought in a Verdict, so that's 4. So Verdict, 2 Ruined Halos, 1 Blessed Alliance for those 4 cards there. That's good. On the draw, obviously, we see this hand, which is not great, but we have 2 pieces of removal and a Snapcaster Mage. 3 lands, I'll take it. Getting hit with discard here. He takes Path. Seems like a pretty obvious choice to me. We draw another Beck, which is not good. He plays another Thoughtseize. And does he take Snap or Blessed Alliance? These seem to be his options. Blessed Alliance, probably the worst of the 2 cards, I guess. We do draw Fatal Push, so because of that we play the Swamp. He traverses. Plays a Shadow. Notice that he had a really interesting play, so you can't see from the chat, but he didn't traverse for Death Shadow there. He traversed for Wooded Foothills. He knows we have a Blessed Alliance in hand, and he's a good player, so he realizes that if he just like gets a Death Shadow, say he like traverses for Death Shadow and plays Death Shadow or something, and he still has 1 in hand, we can Blessed Alliance to make him gain 4 and use it as effective removal for the Death Shadow, right? So instead of letting us do that, he gets a fetch, so that this goes to, he goes like 1 life point below the Blessed Alliance threshold, and we're forced to have another form of removal. Gives him an extra draw step to get disruption for our Blessed Alliance 2. That's good. We're going to play this tapped. And he plays Fulminator Mage, which, there are a lot of things I guess you want to take out against the basically creatureless decks in Game 2. Fulminator Mage is not particularly great against us, but that's okay. It's better than nothing, and it can deal with Colonnade. Plays Lily. Lily, a good card. Kind of. I mean, it kills our backs, but more importantly, it lets him get his creatures back through verdicts and alliances and pushes. But he actually gets back a Fulminator Mage, which is interesting. So he's on this like land denial business for the moment. Doesn't get back a Snapcaster. I guess he knows we have a Blessed Alliance in hand. Doesn't really have a way to get rid of that, and wants to take us off white. But now he's kind of priced into playing the Fulminator Mage anyway, now that he knows we have white, because he's already done it on the previous turn. It's kind of a funny situation. But, makes some sense. We did well for ourselves drawing extra white sources. So here we draw Stroms, which is amazing. And we're going to fetch a Godless Shrine. Because we don't have a Hallowed Fountain left. We're going to fetch a Godless Shrine and get in there. Draw 4. It's going to be awesome. We draw a Cryptic Command. It is worth noting that his Fulminators have kept us very far from Cryptic Command, especially since we have 2 white sources that both come in tapped. He pluses Lily here. I'm not so sure how I feel about that, although I guess we do want to attack Lily, so it keeps us from attacking him for 2 and Lily for 1, although it would probably be 2 at Lily and 1 at him just to get it off the board. But, oh, excuse me. But that being said, we're going to get rid of that Lily so we can't get his Death Shadow back. We still have a Blessed Alliance. If he tries to take it, we probably gain 4 here. He traverses. Plays Death Shadow. We Logic Knot. Oh, I mean, Esper Charm to draw 2. And at this point, he just scoops. So he's thinking, like, I guess he actually doesn't have removal this time. I mean, if we draw an untapped land, we get to win. Although we wouldn't win. I don't think we would tap out for Colonnade here. But he scoops. It was a good game. It's always a fun match. So we are 3-0, 3 2-0s in a row. Feeling pretty good about how we're doing in this league so far. See you for match 4.